Hello there, welcome back to day 16 of PawnToProgress. Today we'll learn the Caro-Kann defense. So I've seen like many times I just know one opening and I play that opening, and that's true for the white. It's the Italian opening. Now I want to learn a new opening and I thought it would be better to make a video and learn simultaneously. So we'll learn the Caro-Kann defense. It's a black centered black not a white opening, it's a black opening. So like let's start the caro I'll just read out the I'll learn from the chess opening module, and I'll just try to learn from this, and I'll just read down the notes, and also you can join me along. Yeah, so the Caro-Kann defense is known above all for its solidity. The defining move c6, okay, uh, is the fourth most popular reply to e4. Yeah, I've seen many people play this move many times. Yeah, and nearly twice as common as the number 5 move. It prepares for d5, of course, without blocking in the light squared bishop, which is considered the main drawbacks of its cousin, the French defense, e4, e6. Okay. A standby for positional players at almost level. The Caro-Kann was particular favorite of the world champion Anatoly Karpov. Okay, yeah, I've heard this name, and yeah, I've seen it many times featured on his games featured on many chess YouTubers. Yeah, so let's go with the starting position. So the starting position is the Caro-Kann begins with e4 c6, with the most variations continuing d4 d5. Either one of this usually considered the starting position for Caro-Kann. Okay, e4 c6. I'll just flip the board for as we are black. uh and the second is like d4. Okay, d4 and d5. Yeah, sorry. Cool. So okay, so the pros are sound pawn structure. Yeah, because if he takes, we get one more pawn in the center and he loses a pawn in center. That's many times what has happened when I was playing white and the other player was doing Caro-Kann. Free light square bishop. Yeah, that's true. And safe and solid. Okay. Cons, less space for black. Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, because I haven't developed this bishop and my knights also, because my knight can't move here if he doesn't take, and that's too slow development. There are many different responses for white. Okay, the Caro-Kann is somewhat complicated opening with several respective variations on white's second move d4. Yeah, uh is by far the most common. Yeah, d4 is the most common. The main exception is known as the two knights defense. So let's go through this. Yeah, we started the Caro-Kann. Yeah, d4, either d4, d3. D3 is also true. Okay, so there are many options, like you can go to d4 is option, then d3 is also option, then c4 is option. Like, okay, yeah, this is also sometimes played, and nc3. Yes, and nf3. So these are the options that the white has. Yeah, that's quite option, like it is told in the con. Okay, so we'll go with d4, which is the standard response, taking the center. And okay, good. So white's third move is when the Caro-Kann really branches out. White has no fewer than 5 popular choices here. Okay, so yeah, he played this knight, which is this one. Yeah, and he played this move. Okay, we'll go from the start. Yes. Okay. We took it, and now we have couple of options. We can either go bishop to f5, which attacks the knight along with this, and then we can go to knight d7, which is a good move if I see, but you're blocking your queen. It doesn't sound better than bishop to f5. And then there's knight to f6. This is better. This is also better. You develop your knight, but at the same time he could exchange it, doubling up your pawns. So bishop to f5 is, I think, so better. So let's go forward, and yeah, bishop to f5 and bishop to f5. Yeah. So this is the classical variation. Uh, NC3 is white's most common choice by narrow margin over e5. Okay. Black's almost always captures with uh, pawn takes e4, d pawn takes e4. So yeah, he takes. Yeah. So we were. So yeah, the knight could take uh, the captured pawn. Uh, yeah, this is also a good response. So NC3 is white's most common choice by narrow margin. Black always. Yeah. So white can also reach the lines with nd2, knight to d2. Okay. When pawn takes e4, knight takes e4. Yeah, this transposes. So yeah, there are many options for white. From here, the game can go several respected directions, of course. But um, bishop to f5 is black's most popular move. And this is the classical variation. Black is very reasonably develops the light square bishop, which is why the move e6 has been avoided to this point in the first place. Okay, yeah, we can't play this move. Yeah, this blocks the bishop. Um, White can and often does chase the bishop, but this weakens the king side. Okay. Karpov variation. Okay. The Karpov variation is a knight to d7, which it is named after, no surprise, Anatoly Karpov. Black prepares to develop the other knight to f6, but without having to recapture with a pawn. Okay, so fourth move, yeah, d7. The Karpov variation. Black prepares to develop the other knight to f6. Okay, this two can go together. Yeah, this is a good option without having to recapture the pawn. Uh, that said, the first move isn't absolute necessary, and white is under no obligation to take the f6. In fact, after nf3, in fact after nf3, nf6, white plays ng3 almost as often as knight takes f6, and scores far better with it, in part because the bishop remains boxed in c8 just by the knight on the d7 instead of the pawn on e6. So let's see this variation. nf6, yeah, this variation. White can almost as common as nd7. Immediate nf6 even though it results in a double up pawns. So just a minute, we can go through this statement once and try to play this on the board. So let's just reset. Let's go to a board. So this is the Karpov variation of Caro-Kann defense, which is like, yeah, we played similarly. Yeah, so yes, takes and takes, and then bring in the knight. Okay, so this is the Karpov variation. This said, this move is as absolute necessary, and white is no obligation to take on f6. In fact, after nf3, yeah, we'll copy this moves over to our chessboard. Okay, so this is the position that it has been explained over here. Uh, yeah, we have reached this position nd7 over here. Yes. So nd7, it is named after Karpov. This said, this move isn't absolute necessary, and white is under no obligation to take on f6. White is under no obligation to take on f6. Okay, and in fact, after knight to nf3, in fact, after knight to nf3, nf6. Yeah, this is better. Yeah, nf6. White plays ng3 amongst as often as nf6. Yeah, either it can go over here, causing this, or black as often plays as ng3. Sorry, ng3. Yeah, this is also seen sometimes, and in part because the bishop remains boxed in c8 just by the knight boxed in c8. Okay, and just by the knight on d7 instead of pawn on e6. Then okay, white can play ng3, but n okay, we can play ng3, but knight takes f6 is the most popular and most challenging move. Black can capture towards the center with pawn on g takes f6, known as the Broinstein-Larsen variation after David Broinstein and Bent Larsen, or away from the center with this move. I think taking towards the center is better because you can open up the rook as well. So yes, uh, when the white bishop moves, you can come over here and cause trouble. The former is a more dynamic choice in exchange for a shattered pawn structure. The latter, while obviously also resulting in is still more solid and less compromised. Both moves are equally popular. Okay. Why does not advance variations? So what have I learned till now? Is like NF6 variations, the Karpov variation, and the classical variation. Cool. So white does not have to play NC3 or a move on move 3. Okay. The aptly named advanced variation E5, white's sharpest variation and best scoring continuation. Grandmaster Vladimir Kramnik used to retain his classical world champion title against Peter Leko in the 14 games. So, okay, we can analyze this game. Okay, he pushed the pawn forward. Yeah, this is, I have played this thing, if I can remember. Okay, okay, this is also a good option. The three most popular continuations after e4, c6, d4, d5, e5, and bishop to f5 all score well despite taking different approaches to the position. Knight to c3 is Shirov variation with the main idea of playing g4 and advancing the king side. Okay, so we'll go back over here, and it's white move, he pushes it forward. Okay, yeah, so we are here, and after pushing it forward, this is, yeah, and c3. Share observation with the main idea of playing g4 and advancing the king side. G4 and advancing the king side. Okay. Suppose blacks bring h4 is called the Tal variation and takes different part to king side expansion. Now this is the Tal variation, and the other one is nf3, short variation. Yeah, this is better, I guess. Okay. Aiming for more positional struggle. There is also the exchange variation. I think so this happens more often. Yeah. So we'll go through exchange variation. I think so this happens quite a lot. When white captures on d5, it is known as the exchange variant. Obviously, pawn takes d5. If planning on recapturing with the queen, black should have just played the Scandinavian d5. White can either play bishop to d3, yes, or a much sharper c4 as shown. When white plays bd3, the goal is a quiet game. It's much rarer at higher levels than the other way. weird move because black gets a good game. Yeah. So I think so. I'll try. I think so. This is it. I don't think so. We can go through like there is fantasy variation and other variation, but I think the other moves, the other variations are quite common, and I'll try to learn this variations uh, and play 2 or 3 games with this, and we can analyze those games which I have played with Caro-Kann in our next day 17. Yeah, so that's it from the day 16 of Pawn to Progress. Hope I see you on day 17. Thank you.